Hi, I'm Alex Stutchbury and welcome to ARTClass, a series of videos teaching you the key basics needed to create great artwork. Today we're going to look at another key element that is important for a really good piece of artwork, and that is creating an interesting still life. Now, we can all think of the traditional fruit bowls and boring objects, but actually let's pick something which is going to be really interesting and inspiring to you. So pick a favourite topic or theme. For me, it's obvious, right? Formula One, probably my biggest passion beyond obviously artwork. Now, all you need to do is go around your house and find as many objects relating to your interest or passion. It could be little models, could be some sort of clothing, could even be some sort of object or ornament that you've got if you've been or visited some place. Once you've got those, bring them all together, and I'm going to teach you 4 key elements that's needed to create that interesting still life image. Here they are. Can I create a successful still life composition that is interesting to look at? To do this, the properties of an interesting image are to have several objects used. Objects should be of varying sizes and they should overlap each other. There should also be very little background showing around the top or side edges. Okay, that's the key criteria. I've got my objects. Let's get started. So first, I would always suggest you pick a neutral background, and if you haven't got a neat or tidy table surface, maybe put some paper down. So again, it neutralizes it, so it's very plain. Then build up from the back. So start with some large items. In this case, I'm using a couple of big books with some interesting imagery on. These can frame the smaller objects in the foreground. So next I'm going to put some clothing, in this case a Ferrari shirt that I got when working for them briefly, and also alongside that I'm going to put a model helmet, because that's still quite a large item and it can fit in nicely in between those others. Make sure there's no gaps in between. Remember, keep it all very close, always overlap them more than you think you need to. A couple of caps going in here for a couple of my favourite drivers, Hamilton and Leclerc. Then I'm going to think about maybe filling in the gap because you don't want space around the edge. And actually this is probably my favourite racing film, so I've tucked that in on that side to balance it out. Then a lanyard, a small item, but that can be tucked in the middle so it's not getting covered from other bits. That's from a fantastic tour I went to at the Williams garage. Finally, I'll put in a few more detailed models at the front, some of my favourite legends. So Michael Schumacher in his bold red Ferrari, and also maybe a smaller one of Graham Hill in his Lotus. But you may find you have to reposition your camera slightly so you can get all of the objects in. But do make sure you take a lot of shots. So here's the standard image of that setup that I've just created, but maybe get in a bit closer, find it more interesting perhaps, and minimize detail or space around the edges. Simplify it, take a few objects out, you can rearrange it as you go, maybe it's less complicated this way. Also take some different shots, portrait and landscape, and get in really close, find some interesting parts. So there you go, an interesting still life image. And make sure you've got all those key points covered, so you've got enough objects to fill the page, and get your phone or camera up as close as possible. Take it from several different angles, your photographs as well, because you don't have to set it up again. And make sure you've got a combination of different materials, some shiny objects, some textured ones, and make sure you've got your large objects framing the smaller ones at the front. But have some fun with it. Have a look at whatever objects you can find. So with my Formula One passion, of course, I wanted to have my classics in there. I've got my representation and link to the whole sort of Formula One world. I've also got hints towards all of my favourite current drivers and teams. So make sure you've got everything you want in there, because you don't want to have to set it up again. Okay, so have some fun. I look forward to seeing how you get on. My name's Alex Stutchbury. Goodbye.